Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston Subdivision in HO Scale. My name is Daryl Cruz, owner and builder of the layout, and your host for episode 2 of season 2024. This episode, I want to share the final work done in the Evanston yard room area. This last little flyover section has been sceniced and ballasted and painted. Backdrop has been put in and everything looks pretty good. I was real happy with the way it turned out. This is what it looked like when I started the week off. I did get the track painted, but I mainly had to get this area here, this fascia here, kind of touched up with some spackling and so forth, and of course I needed to ballast the track and put in other sceneries, and then also the backdrop. So as you can see here, the fascia looked pretty rough. I actually had a splice here. I had two 8-foot pieces that were, because it was a very long flyover. That is a structural aspect of that flyover. And so I want to make it look as smooth as possible, so I went ahead and used some spackling to kind of cover up some of the cracks and spaces created by the fascia and the splicing aspect. And then, of course, I needed to continue the ballasting. This is Woodland Scenics Fine Ballast Gray for the main line. Here you can see kind of how it goes. I use this little application device, forget what it's called, but then once I put it in there, then have to use a brush to kind of brush it off the ties and get everything smoothed out. Use a spoon to kind of add some more ballast on the shoulders and in between the tracks. But here you can see it's pretty much all ballasted, and I have all the fascia patched up and everything. And I also have a backdrop put up. Now, if you know, it looks like a lot of shadows there, and it's not really smoothed out very well. Wasn't real happy how this turned out when I first put it on there, so kind of did a little bit of extra fiddling with it. But this is kind of how it looked at this juncture. Use some wax paper to make sure I didn't get anything on the staging yard down below. If you notice, I just cut a hole in the backdrop. This backdrop is the mirror image of the backdrop that was already in place. Now, you really can't tell that it's a mirror image because it's around a curve and you can't see the whole thing at once. But basically, it's a mirror image, and that way everything kind of lines up and everything looks consistent. And to be honest, and I guarantee you won't be able to tell that it's a mirror image because you can't see the whole thing at once. Here I have the fascia painted. You can see it definitely looks a lot better. Everything's kind of smoothed out. And I was trying to decide what to do about this staging yard, if I should paint that black also, or if I should leave it white. I like it white for the staging yard because if there's any derailments, the white is a great contrast against the track and the wheels and the truck. So if I do have a derailment in there, I can see what's going on when I try to get things re-railed. So I like it being white, but I was trying to decide what to do about the fascia here, if I should make it consistent. Now, I'm talking about just the outside of the fascia there. And was looking at it. I know I needed to paint it because I had all the screws still showing and everything. One thing I definitely needed to do was get this together here. I glued this with just basic white glue and clamped it down real good, let it dry overnight. And here you can see the difference between whether or not it has a polyurethane coat on it. I'm using black flat paint, and to make it have a kind of a protective coat, I've been painting it with Midwax Ultra Flat. Now you notice I did some work on this backdrop to kind of make it more smooth, and it actually looks better in person. You still see some shadows, but adding that light helped a lot, and I did kind of attach it to the existing backdrop behind it a little bit better so that it was a little bit smoother. But it was just kind of a wonky area because I have that exhaust vent for the furnace right there kind of jutting in. I could have put the whole thing out further so I wouldn't have had that, but then I would have had to have had sharper curves, and I didn't want to do that. So it looks a little wonky there, but I think it turned out pretty good. Now here you can see I did decide to paint the fascia, and I think it definitely was the right decision here. And you can kind of see how it looks. This is pretty much how it looks now. I think I still was before putting on the urethane coat, so you can see there's still a little bit of a more flat finish. But anyway, the black is a flat black, which is has a lot of scuff marks and everything if it's not protected. So I put the polyurethane ultra flat on there. Now one thing I was concerned about was this hole in the wall. I planned to put a overpass right there, and I still do plan to do that. In fact, I was all set up to have that done by today. However, I had a couple of issues. I ordered an overpass from Lombard Hobbies, lombardhobbies.com, and I ordered it on Thursday thinking that I would get it on Friday because they ship it UPS, and I usually get it the next day since I'm just an hour away. This is what I ordered. This is a Rick's Products wrought iron overpass. Now, I'm not going to be able to use the whole overpass, but we'll have, two of the support beam piers, and then as much of the wrought iron overpass. Now, UPS was set to bring it out to me, and unfortunately we had like 10 inches of snow on Thursday, and so where's the Friday? But anyway, we had 10 inches of snow, and they could not bring it out, and it was delayed due to extreme weather. And so I think it was Friday we had all the snow. But anyway, they said they weren't going to be able to bring it out till the next business day, which was Tuesday, but then they actually put it on the truck and brought it out on Saturday. And I kind of watched the tracking and everything, and it was like 5 blocks from my house. You can kind of see on the UPS tracking. And next thing I know, I was expecting it in the next 15 minutes or so. Next thing I know, the truck is going away from my house, and they actually took it back to Palatine. I think they probably told their truck drivers to make deliveries up to a certain time, and after that, just come back. One other thing in the order was this modern detail set array from Walthers. It had a solar panel array and some electrical boxes and some different types of equipment. And I wanted to order that because at these tunnels at Kerrville, this is on the other side of the Kerrville tunnels, there is some equipment by the tunnels. I assume it's for ventilation and so forth, or signaling or something or another. But if you look closely, there's equipment here. This is a satellite photo. There's equipment, including a solar panel and then some electrical boxes and so on. So I wanted to include that detail by the tunnels, so I ordered that, and that is going to go here. This is where the tunnels are on the layout, so there's a little gravel area there. So I want to put this detail there with the solar panel, the solar array, and the electrical equipment, and some PTC antennas or whatever needs to go in there. Now this is a gravel road by the maintenance road there. I'm going to change the color of the gravel road there. It's going to be more of a desert sand color. We'll probably use Woodland Scenics Buff. So I'll probably vacuum that up and redo that. But I am including maintenance roads and kind of including that whole idea. And it'd be cool to have some equipment there at the tunnels that matches the prototype. All right, so I'm finally going to then, with that room done, I'm going to move into this next room now, finally. But working on the Evanston yard room area, and I'm going to work to finally in this next area. This is going to be the Aspen tunnels. I did get some tunnel portals and have them kind of located where I think they're going to go. If you can see, I have the mountain drawn in the backdrop and so on. So I definitely want to get started on this next week. Hopefully we'll have some plaster and scenery and so forth. So I'm going to do this whole area, the upper level first and then the lower level, which is Morgan. So going to be doing that. Looking forward to getting that done. We'll probably do all the way through the Aspen control point and do the upper level and lower level. By the way, the Aspen tunnels are long tunnels. Somebody commented that I'm not really doing the tunnels justice in that little corner there. This is going to be the Tagger tunnels here, by the way. So I'll move down to this area eventually at some point. Definitely looking forward to getting this done. But anyway, I think the tunnels are almost like a mile or half a mile long. So my little corner there of the two tunnels is definitely a much compressed representation of the actual Aspen tunnels. But anyway, so all this is going to be worked on in the upcoming weeks and months. All right, let's see some trains moving through this new area. Hopefully next week you'll be able to see it with the overpass there. And I have oftentimes used overpasses to hide the holes that go from one room into the other. It definitely is an effective way of hiding that type of scenery. One thing I did too, which is kind of interesting, I wrote a basic program, and I'll put it in the description if you're interested. But I have like 46 different locomotives, and sometimes if I'm not careful, I have the same locomotives always pulling the same train. So I wrote a program that randomly assigns locomotives to each train. Now, it's not completely random. It has to have the right amount of horsepower, right number of locomotives. Coal trains have to have AC units, AC traction motors instead of the DC traction motors. But anyway, it basically came up with a locomotive allocation, and so I basically followed what it came up with. And I'm going to do that periodically so that I don't always have the same locomotives assigned to the same trains. It definitely looked like this is an active railroad. As I get more locomotives and have more locomotives than what I need, then it'll be a way to bring locomotives from off the layout back onto the layout. So that's where we are as of today, January 14. Congratulations to the Chiefs, by the way. Great game yesterday. I think they might actually win the Super Bowl again, but you never know. But was happy with the way everything turned out yesterday. Looking forward to watching today. Have a great week, everybody. More videos coming up. See you next week. Take care, everyone.